Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome back to the Blacktown Premier League podcast. This is episode 12 already, can you believe it? For the first time in all of the 12 episodes this season so far, we've chatted to someone from the WPL, the PL1, and the PL2 this week in our interviews. So, let's have a look at what they said. Not sure about the visibility right now, but post-Quakers derby, win by Quakers Tigers, of course. Brandon Kemp, you were so loud out there. I know it's been a tough start to the season for you, but you're back into full 90 minutes. How do you feel after that?
Oh, I feel pretty good, to be honest. We had a pretty bad first half, and we addressed some things at half time, and we showed who we really are in the second half and put the goals away.
2 goals in 7 minutes, a goal and an assist for you. Ended up being the match-winning assist from that brilliantly delivered corner. How do you feel after that, Byron?
Good, amazing. Good. I think even the first half when we were down 1-0, I feel like the whole game we were the better team. It wasn't really in question. We knew half time, just relax a bit, come out, and we'd get over the top of them.
Brilliant. Thanks, boys, very much. Appreciate it. I lied to you guys. That was actually the reaction of Quakers Hill Tigers after they won the first ever Quakers derby that we've done since the Premier League started being live streamed. It was good, wasn't it? Some real emotion there. Thanks for filming, by the way, Tigers boys. You know that we're actually at the midway point of the season? Yes, for 18-round competitions, you are restarting your draw this week. We're already halfway there, living on a prayer. Unbelievable, hey? Cue that intro music. Episode number 12. Can we double the number 12 and get to 24 likes for this week's episode? I hope so. Don't let me down. Like the video. What a massive week it was for Premier League football. Let's get those results and those highlights coming up right now. Marion came close to knocking Kellyville off their hot streak, but eventually fell 2-1 to a WPL defeat. Park Lee via Shannon Ellis scored the only goal in the match of the round of the weekend, winning 1-0 away to Rouse Hill Rams. Not that you could tell via the live stream though. In the Quakers derby, Juniors beat Tigers 4-1, and that means that the WPL top 4, as you can see by the ladder right now, features 2 Blacktown Premier League clubs, which is utterly fantastic. Juniors on a 5-game winning streak, Park Lee on a 5-game unbeaten streak, featuring 4 wins and a draw. Massive games between Juniors and Park Lee this weekend. Winner goes second. Steve Watkins picked up his 8th of the season, but it was too little too late last night as Marion picked up the midweek win. You're about to begin watching highlights from the Quakers derby, but it was in fact Tigers who took a 4-1 victory, of course, the opposite to the WPL edition of that fixture, which is quite funny. From the midweek to the weekend, we'll take it back now to Saturday. It was a Workers' victory over Prospect. They showed genuine promise but couldn't keep it together for the full 90, and 5-1 it went the way of the Labour ladies. Another 2 goals for Marcus Correa as Dooney bounced back to win 3-0, a massive result 3rd v 4th over Creek. Tigers 2-1 over Ropes, as you would already know, in another mid-table massive clash. Rivo and Quakers finished 2-2 after Quakers going from 2-0 down to draw level. And the big one, Marion 3-1 over Ponds. We have a new team at the top of the table. To the PL2, Oakville have found their form, 5-1 over Glenwood. Newbury 4-0 over Town Rangers. A mammoth result for the Bulls as they look to push for finals. Pranash Gaunda and Tilakaraj Jay Shankar with 2 each. Daman Singh's early goal separated Polonia and St. Pat's in a 1st v 2nd clash to remember. A huge winner game for Polonia, who have seemed to find their form again. And despite Jordan D'Alessandro's most sensational strike from distance, which I'll now edit in by the way, Rudy Hill picked up their first win of the season over Park Lee thanks to Ali Hassan's 68-minute winner. Look at this goal though by Jordi D'Alessandro. What a goal it was. 3-2 it was to the Rudy Hill boys. Congratulations guys. So here's how the tables looked back into the PL2. First and foremost, Polonia on top of the table and firmly so. Glenwood lose group on 2nd place. Just out of frame is Oakville, by the way. Marion are top of the PL1 table by 3 points. The last game of the season is between Ponds and Marion, and it's a match of the round. It's looking like the premiership will be decided on that day if both teams keep going on this current trajectory. The top 3 are still pretty clear of the rest. Workers' big win on a day that Creek lost to Dooney has really helped out the boys from Labert in 4th now. Tigers move level with Creek on points but are well behind on goal difference. It's just out of frame of the screenshot here. This week's episode is all titled around Glenwood and their resurgence as they push for PL1 promotion. We go and chat to them right now. So enjoy and I'll see you back here in a sec. 4 wins from their last 5. Glenwood are in the best position to go up since PL2 became a thing, I would have to say. Lockie Inns, thanks so much for joining us on the podcast live tonight. Look, I'll be honest, in the off-season, you lost goals all across the pitch. Some guys who went to other teams, went up a division, for example, but you brought in some new names as well. Tell me, who on earth is Mr. 9-goal Marco Bravo Ortiz, by the way, and where did he come from, and what kind of a striker is he, and tell me all about him.
Well, I couldn't tell you where he came from, but he actually joined a bit later than the trial period. He kind of, we have a lot of Latin American players in the team. So I assume through a friend of a friend, he came in. And when he first was at training, he was all right. But then when we started playing games, it just another level. We play him out in the wing. He's very good at like 1v1s. And also he's just got that innate creativity that you expect from like a Latin American player. It's just some of the stuff he does is just wow. It's really good.
Fantastic. I can't wait to see it in person, certainly. Look, everyone got asked this at the start of the year, but you guys are kind of late to the match of the round party. So, we're almost at the halfway point of the season. So I'm asking you a bit late, but did you sort of expect to be in the position that you guys are in? You guys were second until last week. Yes, there was a loss, but up into second, you're in third now, pushing hard for promotion, I guess you could say.
I think at the start of the year, our expectation was we wanted top four, we wanted finals. Anything else is a bonus, really. So to be, in the contention for promotion, because our reserve grade are doing quite well as well, is exceeding expectations. But it's a good place to be in, I think.
You've had some pretty good games against some pretty tough opposition. You have beaten big teams. You've competed with big teams, which I think has been the issue in the last couple of years, particularly since that sort of old group. Like for example, when I first came in around 2021, when they all sort of departed and you guys had to start again, and your dad had to help rebuild. This is the best it's looked in a while, and you guys are beating the big teams again, which is very Glenwood like. So, how does it feel to just like you've been here throughout the whole journey? So, how does it feel to just be competitive again?
I mean, it's one of those trust the process things, right? We knew when all the older lads left and the coach left that we were going to have to build from the ground up, and it was going to be hard for a couple of years. We put a lot of faith in the young players. Obviously, around 2020, we had a really good 20s group that won the minor premiership. And so those lads coming through now, I think if you looked at our first grade side from the last game and previous games, there's like 4 or 5 of them from that core group. So it's good to see that, we're backing the young players and we're giving them more exposure to men's football. And then as they get more attuned to it and more used to it, they start to really, get a taste for it and be able to compete.
Fantastic. What would you say has been the best performance that comes to your mind of the season? You've got 8 or 9 to choose from. So what comes to mind?
Gosh, there's been a couple good ones actually. Park Lee game was certainly good because they're quite tough opposition as well. That one definitely springs to mind, I think, because coming in, I think they bar Polonia, like they've been probably the strongest I'd say that we faced. Other teams are good, obviously, but Park Lee were just, obviously coming down from PL1 last year, there's a bit of class about them, right? But getting the win over them was really nice.
Fantastic. Now, this weekend is Rudy Hill. They're just coming off the back of their first win of the season. So mentally, they're absolutely flying. And I remember that when I did the last podcast with them, they basically said that they were down on numbers. The numbers that they said, the people that they said were away at the time are on the score sheet now. And that means that they're obviously scoring more frequently, which has been sort of their problem. The last time you guys played, they actually scored first, funnily enough, before Marco and then Paulo scored as well. So speaking of that South American effect on the team is quite showing there. Does the fact that they've just come off the back of their first win make this a more difficult task? Does it make you stand up and go, oh, that's actually a bit alarming, or does it just feel like another chance to put 4 on them again?
I don't think alarming. I mean, it does obviously, it gives them a bit of a boost, but I mean, we approach the game the same. We approach all the games the same. We want to play our way. It doesn't matter who's in front of us. And I think that's been a foundational thing that's helped us succeed a lot. It doesn't matter who's in front of us. If they had a big win, we just play our way and we stick to it.
Good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit you with the hardest question last. And if you don't want this to go to air, that's fine.
Yeah.
with the nature of some of the new players that have come in, this has just sort of come to my mind now, but with the fact that they've just sort of come in this season and they've come through friends of friends, how is Glenwood as a club looking to try and keep those guys for this year and years beyond? Because obviously you have a couple of guys who have been here for a while who have obviously brought in these players. So what's the key to keeping them and keeping them happy?
I think it's about culture. I think obviously the wins have helped, but we started to build a really good culture in the squad, even including the new players in reserve grade, first grade, and 20s. So it's about building that sort of mentality that we're all in this together, right? And then when one team wins, they all win. And, we're getting a lot of Resi's players staying to watch first grade and a lot of Resi's players watching 20s. And, I think those things are important for building sort of a culture of a club that, buys into what we're trying to do. So, yeah, I think building a culture is the big thing.
Culture, lots of goals, beating big teams. It sounds like Glenwood is the place to be in the PL2. Good to see you guys doing so well. I think it's as a big club that Glenwood are, and right on that border of Hills and Blacktown. It's a club that, for example, when I was growing up, that I played against a lot, and they were always strong across all levels. So it's good to see you guys doing well, and good to know that the old family club is pulling it back together. So thanks very much for joining me. Past 8 o'clock that it is now. I'm really appreciative, and thanks for the good answers.
All good, mate. No worries.
Welcome back. Really well spoken by a guy who clearly loves his club, and I think he's happy to see that there are some people who are really enjoying the environment that they have there. So, good on you, boys. Good luck this weekend against a Rudy Hill team that are currently on a bit of a flyer. The Quakers Hill Tigers are back on the match of the round for the WPL this weekend. I'll actually finally be covering that game. I had the pleasure of chatting to them prior to it. So, enjoy. Quakers Hill Tigers Women's Premier League side are back on our match of the round live streams this weekend, which is great. They've had an interesting first season in the WPL. They always knew it was going to be hard, and I'm sure there's been plenty of learnings. Speaking of learnings, I'm here to chat to Elise, and we're here to talk about some of those learnings, which leads me straight into my first question, by the way. So, look, I've found it a bit difficult how to frame this properly, but I think the angle I want to go is this, Elise, is we all knew that this was going to be a difficult first year, and that's okay, and the time will come. I want to ask, what have some of those learnings been from pre-season to now, from the games you've played, from training sessions, from getting to know the girls, because you've been forced to adjust really quickly, and that's not easy. So what are some of those lessons, those learnings that you guys have had?
Look, there's a lot to it, so as a team, just molding, there's a lot of us that are new to this team from other teams that have merged, and newbies. So it's just a matter of molding as a team and getting used to each other. A lot of movement that's happening, trying to still figure out positions. And I think a lot of girls are just trying to wrap their heads around their jobs and what they need to do, essentially. So yeah, it's a tough first season, but I think we'll get through it.
Certainly, no, you certainly will. Look, among the lessons and the tough football games, I'm sure there's been plenty of laughs along the way as well. I know what the vibe's like with most, if not all, Quakers Hill Tigers teams, and I know that's pretty good. So, what have been some of the most enjoyable moments? Could be on the field, could be off the field, game day, training. What's something that brings a laugh to mind when you think about it?
I think, look, we all get very excited when it comes to training. Taryn has something new for us each week, and there's always laughter. Like, it's a bunch of girls training with each other, so like it's just an awesome atmosphere. And then as well on the field, we've gotten the 3 goals that we've scored. We've just, again on Sunday, like, just celebrating with each other those achievements, those small achievements. Like, as much as like they might not have a great effect onto the game scores, they're still, we hold them close to our hearts, so it's something worth to be excited about. So yeah.
No, absolutely. I've been lucky enough to see the one against Parkley in person, and I remember the reaction then. It was very wholesome, and it was nice to be there for it. We do have one more podcast before the season is up, so I don't want to look sort of too far ahead or look at next season, for example. But I feel like there might have been, maybe a shift in goal setting from the start of the season to now. So are there some things that you guys have spoken about as a group that you want to achieve between now and the end of the season that might be different from the start?
at this stage, I think it's sort of similar to what we had in mind at preseason. You know, we really just want to work on merging as a team, creating that first season, you know, with each other. Next year, then learning from what's happening on the field and that, which we are this season. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, it's tough at the moment as we're still figuring out positions and that, and yeah.
Yeah, I totally understand. And like I said, it's been really good to watch the progression this year. And having spoken to people in and around the team, I know that the environment is great. And even if it is a bit of baby steps for you guys across the next couple of seasons, there are a couple of things that you guys have down really well, and certainly that is one of them, and that can only be a good thing. Thank you so much for braving the cameras and joining us on the podcast this week, Alyssa. I really do appreciate it. And best of luck heading into this weekend.
No worries. Thank you so much.
To the fixtures now, and the WPL match of the round is between, of course, Winston Hills Bears as they come and visit Quakers Hill Tigers. 3 p.m. Sunday, see you there. Marion have Rouse Hill Rams, and of course, as we mentioned earlier in the episode, Quakers and Parkley have each other. Quakers Juniors, that is. The draw restarts in PL1, so that means Dooney this time go to Quakers Juniors. Tigers and Prospects face off once again. De Jong have Ropes Crossing. Riverston have Creek, with Eastern Creek wanting to do revenge with that round 1 loss. And Workers have Ponds. Parkley have St. Pat's in what could prove to be another fun game. Newbury go to Polonia, and after the last match of the round between these two, Polonia will be hoping that the Bulls don't charge them. Town Rangers have Oakville, and I don't even need to say this because every single PL2 team can win, can draw, can lose any fixture. So, trust me, tune in if you're close by because it's going to be a fun game. There are no doubts about that. And if you don't feel like tuning in person, tune in on the live stream as Glenwood take on Rudy Hill. Both teams with something to prove this weekend. That's going to do it for this week's episode of the Blacktown Premier League podcast. My name is Mark DePoli. Make sure you like if you enjoyed the content that you've seen throughout today, the multiple matches that we've given you in the last couple of weeks, the catch-up rounds as well. It's been a big effort by the Biddy Cafe, and I'm really proud to say that all the players have helped us keep the entertainment value right through the roof. Thanks so much for tuning in. Once again, I really do appreciate you guys that get to this point of the episode. See you on Saturday, see you on Sunday, and go the Blues. Cue the outro music.